What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Explore Taiwan podcast. I am your host, Alex, and sitting right across from me is the wonderful Sophia. How are you doing today, Sophia?
Oh, Alex, honestly, I am doing fantastic. I've been looking forward to this episode. We've had so many listeners messaging us, asking for a real, solid guide to Taiwan's offshore islands. So, if you're an English learner looking to improve your listening skills, or a traveler wanting to discover an absolute paradise, you have definitely hit the jackpot today.
You really have. Today, we are leaving the main island behind and heading out across the Pacific Ocean to a small, breathtaking volcanic island called Green Island, or as we say in Mandarin, 绿岛, 陆岛.
Green Island. Well, honestly, just hearing the name makes me feel like I'm already on vacation. But before we get carried away talking about beaches, Alex, we have to start with the basics. How do our listeners actually get there?
Your journey begins in a gorgeous county on the southeastern coast of Taiwan called Taitung, Taidong. From Taitung, you basically have two choices to cross the ocean. You either ride a ferry or you catch a tiny airplane. Let's break down the ferry option first, because that is how the vast majority of tourists get to the island.
Right, the ferry. Where do people go to board the boat?
You need to head over to the Fugang Fishery Harbor, Fugang Yugang. Let's pause right there for a quick vocabulary note. A harbor, spelled Harbor, is a place on the coast where ships can tie up or take on passengers. In Mandarin, we call it a yugang. From there, you board a ferry straight to Nanliao Harbor, Nanliao Yugang, on Green Island. The boat ride takes about 50 minutes.
50 minutes? Well, honestly, that sounds pretty short. But wait, Alex, I've heard some pretty wild rumors about that specific boat ride. Is it really that rough?
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, that 50-minute ferry ride can be a total roller coaster. You see, the ocean water between Taidong and Green Island is home to the famous Kuroshio Current, which scientists call the Black Stream. It is an incredibly powerful, fast-flowing, warm ocean current. Because the boat cuts right across this heavy current, the waves can get unbelievably choppy. The ferry will rock up and down, left and right. It's a serious test for your stomach.
Oh, gosh. I get dizzy just thinking about it. So, what is the secret to surviving this 50-minute ocean roller coaster? Give our listeners some insider tips, Alex.
This is your ultimate survival guide. First, you absolutely must buy what we call motion sickness medicine, or colloquially, a seasickness pill. In Mandarin, that's 云川药, 文川药. Do not wait until you're on the boat to take it. That is a total rookie mistake. You need to take that medicine at least 30 minutes before the boat departs.
Ah, a rookie mistake. A rookie mistake means an error made by a beginner. So, don't be a rookie. Take your medicine early. What's the second tip, Alex?
Seating strategy. When you board the ferry, don't run straight to the very front of the boat for a view. The front of a ship, called the bow, lifts up high on the waves and slams down hard. Instead, find a seat toward the middle, or the very back in the stern. The back of the boat stays much more stable.
That is gold tier advice. Now, what about option number 2? You mentioned a tiny airplane. How does that work?
Well, it's much faster, but it comes with its own headaches. You can fly from the Taitung Aviation Station, Taidong Hangzhong directly to the Green Island Airport, 鹿斗航空站. The entire flight only takes about 15 minutes.
Wait, 15 minutes? Well, I mean, honestly, that sounds absolutely perfect. Why doesn't everyone just choose to fly? What's the catch?
The catch is that the planes are extremely small. Daily Air, 德安航空, uses 19-seater propeller planes. Because the planes are so small, tickets are very limited. On top of that, a big percentage of those seats is legally reserved for local Green Island residents. So, for a tourist, trying to get a seat on that plane must be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You have to book exactly 2 months in advance. And there's a second major issue, weather dependency. If the northeastern monsoon winds, 东北季风, blow too hard, or if there's heavy rain, the airport grounds the planes immediately. Ferries can usually handle rougher weather than these tiny planes can.
I see. So the ferry is much more reliable, while the plane is ultra fast but incredibly hard to book. By the way, Alex, for our listeners planning their first trip, what is the easiest way to organize all of this?
Honestly, the best way is to book a package tour through a local Green Island guest house, or B&B, which we call 民宿. Most 民宿 on Green Island offer an all-inclusive deal. They will book your round-trip ferry tickets, arrange a scooter rental that will be waiting for you at the harbor, and even set up your snorkeling or night tours. It removes all the logistical stress.
That sounds incredibly convenient. A package tour Tajong Sinchern really saves you from a lot of planning hassle. All right, so let's imagine we've taken our pills, survived the boat ride, and stepped onto Green Island. Alex, what is the history of this place? I know it has a really unique local culture. Let's talk about its old name first.
Oh, yes. Green Island wasn't always called Green Island. Historically, it was known across Taiwan as Fire Island, or 火烧岛, 火烧岛. Literally, the island burned by fire.
Fire Island. Wow, that sounds so dramatic. Why did the early settlers call it that? Was it actually on fire?
No, it wasn't constantly engulfed in flames. There are 2 fascinating legends behind the name. The first is completely natural and visual. During late spring and early summer, the sunsets are breathtakingly intense. When the sun dips low, it casts a brilliant, deep reddish-orange glow across the grassy hills. From a distance out at sea, it literally looks like the hills are caught in a forest fire. It's an incredible optical illusion.
Oh, wow, that sounds beautiful. What about the second explanation?
The second one is deeply historical. Hundreds of years ago, before modern lighthouses or GPS existed, fishermen would get lost at sea during sudden storms. To save them, the residents on the island would climb up to the highest mountain ridges and light massive bonfires. The lost fishermen would see these bright fires and use them as a guide to steer their boats safely back to port. So, sailors began calling it Fire Island.
Wow, I absolutely love that story. They literally burned fires to save lives. Now, besides fishing, what did the early residents do for a living? I recall reading something about an unusual animal industry there.
Oh, you must be thinking of the deer farming industry. Back in the 1970s and 1980s, Green Island experienced a massive economic boom centered entirely around raising Formosan Sika deer. At the peak of this industry, there were actually more deer living on Green Island than there were human residents. They were raised primarily for their antlers, specifically deer velvet antlers, luron, which are highly valued in traditional medicine.
That is incredibly unique. Is that industry still active today?
No, not commercially. Over time, the commercial deer farms faded away. However, the Sika deer officially became the beloved mascot of the island. When you ride around on your scooter, you see cute cartoon deer on road signs, deer-themed statues, and artistic murals everywhere. Plus, many deer were released into the wild. Today, there is a thriving population of wild Sika deer living freely in the forested hills. It's become a core part of the island's ecotourism.
That is amazing. It's like Taiwan's version of Nara in Japan. Now, Alex, we have to transition into a much heavier part of Green Island's history. It's prison culture and what the locals call the Big Brother economy. Go Gingze.
Yes, this is a profound chapter of the island's story. For several decades during the mid-23rd century, specifically during the period of martial law and the White Terror in Taiwan, Green Island was used as the primary destination for exiling and imprisoning political dissidents and intellectuals who spoke out against the authoritarian regime, alongside high-profile criminal syndicate leaders.
Right. Because the island is isolated and surrounded by fierce ocean currents, it was seen as the perfect maximum security natural fortress. Escaping from Green Island was virtually impossible. It was truly Taiwan's Alcatraz.
Exactly. But what is truly fascinating is how modern Green Island has transformed this history into a highly creative tourism phenomenon known as the Big Brother economy. Let's explain that term, Big Brother, for our NX English learners, because it has a very specific meaning here.
Haha, yes. In English, Big Brother usually means your older male sibling. But in Taiwanese slang, Big Brother or daga is a colorful term used to describe mafia bosses, gang leaders, or hardened prison inmates. It's like saying mob boss or gangster in English movies.
Spot on. So, the clever locals took this association with gangsters and turned it into a unique, humorous theme. When you walk down the main street today, you will see a wide variety of shops designed around prison humor. For instance, there is a famous novelty souvenir shop called the Big Brother Story, 大哥的故事. The entire storefront is built to look like a realistic jail cell, complete with black iron bars. Visitors flock to this shop to take funny photos pretending to be locked up, posing with fake handcuffs, or holding up comedic signs that say things like, I am innocent.
That is so clever. Are there actual theme restaurants like that too, Alex?
Oh, absolutely. One of the most popular dinner spots is a restaurant called Prison Food, Laufen. When you walk inside, the seating arrangements are divided into individual iron-barred cages. You sit at a wooden table inside a mock prison cell, and they serve your food in metal plates that look exactly like traditional inmate rations. It's highly theatrical and popular for social media photos.
That sounds like so much fun for a group of friends. But, well, honestly, we should also remind our listeners that while the commercial shops are lighthearted, the island maintains a deep respect for the true history of the political prisoners. There is a formal site dedicated to that, right?
Yes, the Green Island Human Rights Culture Park, 乐斗人权文化园区. This is a vast, solemn memorial site that encompasses the actual historical prison facilities, including the original compound known as Oasis Villa, Lokjo Shandra. Visitors can walk through the real, preserved cell blocks and read the diaries of the individuals who were detained there. It showcases Taiwan's inspiring journey to democracy. There is also the active Green Island prison nearby, and its front gate is a popular photo spot for tourists.
It's so important to experience both sides. Now, let's talk about another major pillar of Green Island, which is hands down its world-renowned ocean and diving lifestyle.
Oh, man. The underwater world of Green Island is nothing short of legendary. In the global scuba diving community, Green Island is consistently rated as one of the absolute premier diving destinations on the planet, and it all boils down to one word: visibility. Because the seabed is composed of clean volcanic rock rather than muddy river silt, the water clarity is mind-blowing. On a clear day, the underwater visibility can easily reach 30 to 40 meters. When you look down from a boat, it looks like a rich, glowing blue crystal. That is why divers affectionately call it the Sapphire Ocean.
30 to 40 meters of clarity? Well, honestly, that is like swimming inside a giant high-definition aquarium. And what kind of marine life can divers expect to see?
Thanks to the warm, nutrient-dense Kuroshio Current, the island boasts an incredibly vibrant, healthy coral reef ecosystem. When you go snorkeling, scuba diving, or try SUP, which stands for stand-up paddleboarding, you are instantly surrounded by sea turtles, harmless sea snakes, clownfish, and massive schools of tropical fish. The entire lifestyle of Green Island revolves around the sea. Everywhere you look, you see people walking around in wetsuits, living that ultimate, laid-back island life.
Oh, I love that image so much. And speaking of diving, there is a very specific underwater attraction that involves mail, right?
Yes, you are talking about the pygmy seahorse underwater postbox, Doting Haima Heidi Yoton. This is located in the Shilang diving area, Shilang Qianshui Kui. It is literally a functional postbox sitting on the ocean floor at a depth of 11 meters. It is officially the deepest underwater postbox in the world. Before you dive, you visit a local shop and purchase a special waterproof postcard. You write your message with a permanent marker, put on your scuba gear, dive down 11 meters, and personally drop it into the slot. The postbox is shaped like a pygmy seahorse, which is a tiny, rare species of seahorse found in the local reefs. Local dive instructors go down regularly to collect the mail and send it out globally.
Sending a postcard from 11 meters underwater is the ultimate souvenir. Okay, now let's talk about the major land attractions. What are the absolute must-visit spots when riding a scooter around the island?
First up is the Green Island Lighthouse, Lotto Tower. It is a towering, pristine white structure with a very moving backstory. Back in December of 1937, a massive luxury American ocean liner called the SS President Hoover struck a hidden coral reef and ran violently aground off the coast of the island. The local residents showed incredible heroism. The local fishermen braved the freezing temperatures and massive waves, launching their tiny wooden boats into the storm. They courageously rescued all 1,000 passengers and crew members, bringing them safely to shore and housing them in their own homes. The government and public of the United States were so profoundly grateful that the American Red Cross donated the full funding to construct this magnificent lighthouse as a gift of international friendship.
That story literally gives me goosebumps, Alex. It gives the landmark so much emotional weight. And right at the base of the lighthouse hill, there is a beautiful beach area with an unusual name, right?
Yes, Right below the lighthouse cliff lies a hidden paradise called Wuyuku, which translates literally to the black oil trench or oily pool. It was named that simply because the pool is surrounded by dark, black volcanic rocks. In reality, Wuyuku is a breathtaking, pristine, natural lagoon. A semicircle of coral reefs completely blocks the rough open ocean waves. Because the waves are blocked, the water inside the lagoon is perfectly calm, flat, like a sheet of glass. It is a legendary hotspot for taking stunning reflection photos, what we call wing nie zhao, ame jiao, or internet beauty photos because the water acts like a perfect mirror.
That sounds like an absolute dream for anyone who loves photography. Now, let's move around the island's coastal highway to another iconic scenic area, the Little Great Wall, Sao Charnchermbudo.
The Little Great Wall is a visual masterpiece. It is a beautifully paved pedestrian walkway that stretches and winds its way gracefully along the narrow spine of a high, steep mountain ridge. Because the pathway contours precisely along the sharp curves of the mountain, it looks like an exact miniature replica of the Great Wall of China. At the very end of the ridge trail, you arrive at a traditional wooden viewing pavilion called the Guanhai Pavilion, Guanhaiting. When you stand there, you get a panoramic view of the two most famous geological rock formations in Taiwan, Pekingese Dog Rock, Habagoyan, and Sleeping Beauty Rock, Shuimeirenyan.
I love the names. Do they actually look like a dog and a sleeping woman?
Honestly, Sophia, you don't need to use any imagination at all. It is uncanny how precise nature carved these rocks. Sleeping Beauty Rock looks exactly like an elegant woman lying completely flat on her back, floating peacefully on the surface of the ocean. You can clearly see the profile of her head, her nose, and her long hair flowing into the water. And right next to her, crouching in the waves, is a massive rock formation that looks precisely like a wrinkled, stubby-nosed Pekingese or pug dog guarding her.
Wow, a natural sleeping beauty and her loyal pet dog. Now, Alex, after a long day of exploring, your stomach is definitely going to be rumbling. Let's talk about the unique local snacks, delicacies, and food culture of Green Island.
Oh, the culinary scene on Green Island is an absolute adventure. The local recipes heavily feature three iconic ingredients: seaweed, or seagrass, deer meat, and ultra-fresh seafood. Let's kick things off with the ultimate summer treat: seaweed shaved ice, 海草冰. A legendary place for this is 绿岛, 稀有叮当, 鹿岛小叮当, 黑糖, 海草冰.
Wait, seaweed on top of sweet shaved ice? Well, I mean, honestly, how does that actually taste?
It sounds weird, but it is the single most refreshing thing you can eat. First, the presentation is unforgettable. They serve the ice inside an enormous, genuine ocean seashell. They pile up crushed ice, pour a rich, traditional Taiwanese brown sugar syrup over it, and blanket it with freshly harvested green seagrass konjac jelly, 海草汁, and chewy sweet potato balls, 地瓜圆. The seagrass doesn't taste fishy. It has a clean, subtle hint of the ocean that perfectly balances the sweetness of the brown sugar.
Shaved ice in a giant real seashell. What about a warm, savory afternoon snack?
You absolutely must visit Grandma Scallion Pancake, Peru Mao the Chongyou Bang, for their signature octopus or seaweed Q pancake, 章鱼, 海草冲 Q bang. Let's do a quick language check here. In Taiwan, The letter Q is used to describe food that has a bouncy, chewy, satisfying texture like al dente, but for dough or boba. This pancake has an incredibly thick, crispy outer skin, and the inside is wonderfully Q. You can stuff it with local seagrass, dried bonito flakes, chai yu song, or succulent diced chunks of fresh octopus, zhang yu ding. Biting through that crispy crust and hitting juicy pieces of octopus is pure heaven.
Diced octopus inside a crispy, Q-textured pancake sounds amazing. What about something sweet?
You have to visit the Sika deer specialist shop, 梅花鹿专卖店, for their deer egg cakes, 鹿蛋烧. In Taiwan, 鸡蛋糕, 给蛋糕, which translates to chicken egg cake, is a fluffy, sweet sponge cake. But here, they bake them into the shape of adorable, chubby little cartoon Sika deer. They are crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, and burst with warm, gooey fillings like melted cheese, chocolate, or milk caramel. Plus, they have a gigantic, beautifully crafted Sika deer sculpture outside that everyone takes photos with.
A hot sponge cake shaped like a baby deer. Now, let's talk about late-night cravings. What is the go-to midnight snack?
For midnight snacks, you have to find Love Turning Corner fried chicken, A 卷饺 ham su gai. They serve traditional Taiwanese deep-fried delicacies, or 咸酥鸡, but they have two island-exclusive items. First is fried seaweed balls, 炸海草球. They mix fresh seagrass into a light batter and flash fry it into crispy, airy, green, savory bites. Second is deep-fried mahi-mahi fish chunks. In Mandarin, mahi-mahi is called gu tou dao, gui tou dao, which literally translates to ghost head knife. Because of the fish's sharp, angular head shape, they take fresh, thick fillets of this seasonal fish, coat them in batter, and deep fry them. It is incredibly firm, juicy, and packed with clean, natural flavor.
Ghost head knife is hands down the coolest name for a fish. What about a proper sit-down dinner?
You should head to local seafood restaurants like the Must Fry Seafood Canteen, 非炒不可海鲜食堂, or the Bamboo House Restaurant, 竹屋餐厅. One of the top dishes to order is fresh, flying fish, 飞, served either deep-fried whole, so the entire fish is crispy, or as flying fish ichiaboshi, 飞鱼一夜干, which is salted, air-dried overnight, and grilled. You also have to order a dish called the Lover's Tears, 情人的眼泪. It is a highly unique wild algae called 伊来骨, 鱼来骨, or rain-coming mushroom. It only appears naturally on clean mountain rocks immediately after a heavy downpour of rain. Once the sun comes out, it vanishes. Chefs stir-fry it with fresh eggs, garlic, and chili. It is tender, earthy, and amazing. Also, believe it or not, eating mud and hot pot, 羊肉螺, outside under the night sky is a massive dinner ritual on Green Island, even in the warm summer months.
That sounds like a total feast. Now, Alex, this brings us perfectly to our next big question about the island's nightlife. Does Green Island have a traditional night market?
This is a key piece of information. Green Island does not actually have a traditional closed-off night market with structured rows of stalls. Instead, all of the evening energy, dining, nightlife, and shopping are concentrated along one single main road, Nanliao Avenue, Nanliao Dajie. It is universally referred to as the Zemending of Green Island. Just like the bright, neon-lit shopping district in Taipei, Nanliao Avenue is the undisputed heartbeat of the island after dark. The street is packed with seafood joints, prison-themed bars, seaweed ice parlors, souvenir shops, and the ultimate lifelines, a massive family mart and a 7-Eleven right next to each other.
So, what does a typical evening itinerary actually look like for tourists?
The night routine follows a wonderful, relaxed island rhythm. Around 6 or 7 p.m., you ride your scooter to Nanliao Avenue to enjoy a big seafood or mutton hot pot dinner. After dinner, you walk down the street to explore the shops, buy souvenirs at the Big Brother store, and pick up some midnight snacks like the fried ghost head knife fish. Then, around 8 or 8:30 p.m., the highlight of the evening begins. The guided night eco tour, 夜干生态导览.
What do you actually do on the night eco tour?
You follow a local expert guide on your scooters into the completely dark, unlit northern and eastern sides of the island. Because Green Island has almost zero light pollution outside of Nanliao Avenue, the night sky is breathtakingly spectacular. You can see the entire brilliant band of the Milky Way galaxy perfectly. Then, the guide will point high-powered flashlights into the coastal forests to spot wild Formosan sika deer. You can see their golden eyes glowing in the dark. You also search for rare insects, like the famous Green Island giant stick insect, Luto dajur zetrong, which grows up to 15 centimeters long and lives exclusively on the coastal screw pines. It's a thrilling biology lesson in the dark.
Wow, spotting wild deer and giant stick insects under the stars. And then, to top off the entire night, there is one final world-exclusive activity you can do, right?
Yes, the ultimate finale to a Green Island trip is heading over to the Asahi Hot Spring, Zhaori Wenchun. This place is an absolute geographical marvel. It is one of only 3 documented subterranean marine hot springs in the entire world. Instead of fresh water, cold salt water from the Pacific Ocean seeps deep underground into the volcanic rock crust, gets heated by residual magma chambers, and emerges as a hot spring right on the rocky shoreline. The water is crystal clear, mineral-rich, and distinctly salty on your lips. And there is 0 sulfur, so there is absolutely none of that pungent rotten egg smell. The name Asahi, Chaori, means morning sun or rising sun. The absolute peak experience is arriving at the hot spring around 4:30 a.m., soaking in the warm saltwater pools built into the coastal rocks, listening to the waves crash nearby, and watching the brilliant sun slowly rise straight out of the endless Pacific Ocean horizon. You can even buy raw eggs and boil them directly in a super hot geothermal pool for a delicious sea salt flavored breakfast.
Boiling your own saltwater eggs while watching the sunrise. That is an absolute Tier 1 travel experience. Well, I mean, honestly, Alex, we have covered an immense amount of ground today. We talked about the Kuroshio Current Ferry, the Fire Island history, the Big Brother prison economy, the Sapphire Ocean, the Deep Sea Post Box, the Lighthouse, the Little Great Wall, the Seaweed Shaved Ice, cute pancakes, Ghost Head Knife Fish, Nanliao Avenue, night eco tours, and the Asahi Sunrise Hot Spring.
It really is an incredible place, Sophia. For anyone listening who is working hard to improve their English listening skills, or for our international friends who want to experience the true depth of Taiwan's travel culture, I hope this deep dive into Green Island has inspired you to pack your bags, grab your motion sickness pills, and go experience this breathtaking paradise for yourself.
Well said. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Taiwan Travel Podcast. Keep practicing your English, keep exploring this beautiful world, and we will catch you right here in our very next episode.
Bye-bye, everyone. Stay safe, take care, and see you on the island.